Most people think their cat climbs onto refrigerators, shelves, and bookcases simply because they are curious or mischievous. But what looks like random climbing is actually one of the deepest survival instincts a cat possesses. In nature, height means safety. A cat above the environment can see approaching threats before the threats see them. They can observe without being cornered, rest without being surprised, and escape conflict without direct confrontation. That instinct never disappeared, simply because cats moved indoors. Modern homes are designed almost entirely for humans, which means most living spaces unintentionally force cats to live in a world that feels emotionally exposed. When a cat has nowhere elevated to retreat, many begin hiding underneath beds, squeezing behind furniture, or disappearing into closets during stressful moments. Owners often interpret this as shyness, but it is frequently a lack of safe vertical territory. Research published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that cats with access to elevated spaces displayed lower stress levels and more confident social behavior compared to cats living without them. The difference is not cosmetic. Height changes how secure a cat feels inside their own environment. A cat resting calmly on a high perch is psychologically very different from a cat hiding low to the ground. One is monitoring the world from a position of control. The other is trying not to be noticed. That is why something as simple as a tall cat tree near a window, a wall-mounted shelf, the cleared top of a bookcase, or a soft perch above eye level can completely change feline behavior. Many cats become more relaxed, affectionate, playful, and socially confident once they finally have an elevated space that belongs to them. The climbing itself is not the goal. The emotional security created by height is. Humans often focus on giving cats food, toys, and affection, while overlooking the physical environment their nervous system evolved to depend on. But a cat that never feels safe inside the home may never fully relax, no matter how loved they are. Sometimes the most powerful form of care is not petting them more or buying another toy. It is simply giving them a place above the world where they can finally breathe, observe, and feel in control. Many people believe cats are naturally distant animals that simply dislike affection. But the reality is more complicated and much more emotional than that. Most cats do enjoy physical connection. They just need control over when and how it happens. Every interaction with a cat quietly affects what you could think of as a trust account. When you respect their signals, wait for invitations, and allow them to choose contact voluntarily, that account grows stronger. But every time a human grabs, restrains, pets without warning, or ignores avoidance signals, a small withdrawal happens instead. One moment does not destroy trust, but repeated unwanted touching slowly teaches a cat that human hands are unpredictable. That is why some cats begin walking away the moment they see a hand reaching toward them. It is not coldness, it is caution built from experience. Cats communicate invitations for affection very clearly when humans learn to notice them. A tail held upright while approaching, a head pressing gently into your hand, slow blinking nearby, or curling into your lap voluntarily are all forms of consent-based social behavior. These moments matter because the cat initiated them. The emotional experience becomes completely different when the interaction begins from the cat's own choice rather than human assumption. Scent also plays a major role before physical touch even happens. A cat's sense of smell is dramatically more sensitive than a human's, and sniffing functions as social information gathering. When you extend a finger or the back of your hand and allow the cat to investigate first, you are giving them time to process identity, mood, and safety before contact occurs. Research published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that cats allowed to initiate contact through scent investigation displayed fewer stress signals and less defensive behavior during handling. That tiny pause before petting can completely change how safe the interaction feels. Forced affection often creates the opposite effect owners intend. The more a cat feels physically controlled, the more emotionally guarded they become. But when humans stop chasing affection and begin respecting feline autonomy, something remarkable usually happens.
By respecting the cat's autonomy,
the cat starts
and providing
seeking them out
emotional
more
safety,
often, staying
a
longer,
strong bond
and
is
relaxing
formed.
more deeply during contact. The bond becomes stronger precisely because the cat no longer feels pressured into it. What many people interpret as independence is often something more sophisticated, a social system built around consent, predictability, and emotional safety. Most humans never realize how physically overwhelming they appear to a cat. From a feline perspective, people are enormous creatures that move quickly, speak loudly, and constantly approach from above. Even loving owners unintentionally carry the body language of a predator simply because of their size and movement. That is why many cats remain cautious even in safe homes. Their nervous system is continuously evaluating distance, posture, speed, and direction. Animal behavior research shows that height strongly influences how animals interpret threat and dominance. A tall figure standing over a smaller animal automatically creates pressure, even when no harm is intended. But something remarkable happens the moment a human lowers themselves to the floor. The emotional tone of the interaction changes immediately. Sitting down reduces your size, softens your posture, and removes much of the intimidation a standing human naturally creates. Suddenly, the cat no longer has to crane upward to monitor you or prepare for a hand descending from above. The environment begins to feel calmer and more predictable. This is especially powerful with shy, anxious, or newly adopted cats who are still trying to decide whether the home is emotionally safe. Many owners spend weeks attempting to build trust with treats or toys while still physically looming over the animal every day. But quietly sitting on the floor a few feet away often creates more progress in 10 minutes than repeated attempts at direct interaction. The key is not forcing contact. No calling them over, no reaching, no chasing affection. Just calm co-presence inside their world. Many cats will slowly approach on their own once they realize the human is no longer behaving like a large, unpredictable force. Others may simply relax more deeply where they already are, which is also trust. Sometimes the beginning of connection is not active bonding at all. It is the absence of pressure. Trust often starts the moment a human stops towering over the cat and becomes emotionally quiet enough to share space without demanding anything in return. Cats may not understand clocks the way humans do, but they understand patterns with incredible precision. Most indoor cats organize their emotional world around repeated human behavior. Feeding time, morning movement, evening sounds, play sessions, lights turning off, even the spot where you usually sit at night, all become anchors inside your cat's nervous system. Over time, these repeated events form an internal map that tells the cat what happens next and whether the environment is stable. Humans often think of routine as simple discipline or convenience, but for cats it functions much more like emotional security. A predictable environment lowers the need for constant vigilance, because the cat no longer has to monitor every moment for uncertainty. That is why many cats wait near the kitchen before meals, appear at the same window every evening, or settle into familiar sleeping spots at nearly identical times each day. They are tracking rhythm, not time itself. Research published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that inconsistent household routines were strongly associated with chronic stress behaviors in indoor cats. And the disruptions do not need to be dramatic. Feeding an hour late repeatedly, skipping normal play sessions, returning home unpredictably, or constantly changing nighttime habits can slowly create emotional instability. To humans, these shifts feel minor because human schedules naturally fluctuate. But to a cat, the predictable structure holding their environment together suddenly becomes unreliable. Many stressed cats respond by becoming hypervigilant, withdrawn, overly vocal, or restless because their nervous system no longer feels confident about what comes next. Routine is not about turning life into a rigid schedule. It is about creating repeated moments the cat can trust. Even small consistencies matter. Be feeding around the same time, having a short daily play ritual, or sitting in the same place during quiet evening hours. Over time, these patterns teach the cat that the human controlling the environment is emotionally dependable. And inside a feline nervous system, predictability becomes safety. A predictable human is not boring to a cat. A predictable human is a safe one. Most people think cats are quiet animals that simply make noise when they want food. But the truth is far stranger and far more emotional than that. Adult cats rarely meow at each other. Once cats mature, most feline communication with other cats shifts toward scent, posture, facial expression, and body movement instead of vocalization. Meowing remains strongest between kittens and their mothers. Yet adult cats continue doing it constantly with humans. That means something important happened during domestication. Cats developed a communication system specifically designed for us. Every time your cat meows at the kitchen door, chirps while following you through the hallway, or answers when you speak, they are using sounds their species refined for human attention and response. Research from Lund University in Sweden found that cats often develop unique vocal patterns tailored to their specific owners. In other words, your cat may literally sound different when communicating with you than they would with someone else. The tone, rhythm, and intensity gradually adapt through repeated interaction, almost like a shared language forming between two species.
It's just you and me tonight, buddy.
Cats also recognize familiar human voices extremely well.
Together.
Studies published in Animal Cognition showed that cats respond differently to their owner's voice compared to strangers, even when they appear relaxed or half asleep. Their brain is continuously monitoring the sound of the person they live with most closely. That is why speaking to your cat throughout the day matters more than most people realize. You do not need special phrases or exaggerated baby talk. What matters is familiarity, predictability, and emotional tone. When owners narrate daily routines, greet their cats in the morning, or casually speak while moving through the house, the cat receives a constant stream of reassuring social information. Your voice becomes part of the emotional structure of the home itself. Many people ignore feline vocalization because it seems ordinary, but from the cat's perspective, these exchanges may represent one of the deepest forms of connection they have with humans. Your cat looked at a completely different species and slowly built a vocal system meant specifically to reach you. So, when your cat meows from another room or answers when you speak, that sound is not random noise. It is communication shaped by generations of adaptation, attachment, and the desire to stay connected to the human they trust most.
Everything is all right, sweet cat. Just rest now. I'm right here with you.